Welcome back, Game of Thrones fans. House Targaryen's history is filled with drama, ambition, and of course, dragons. From Aegon the Conqueror to the downfall of the Targaryen dynasty. Let's dive deep into each Targaryen king who ruled Westeros. Grab your seats, because we're going from the heights of glory to the depths of madness and everything in between. First, Aegon didn't just come to Westeros to conquer. He had a vision for uniting the realm. Using his dragons and his military genius, Aegon, with his sister wives, Rhaenys and Visenya, built the foundations of what we now know as the Seven Kingdoms. His reign wasn't without resistance, but through diplomacy and force, he established the Iron Throne and a capital in King's Landing, securing his family's place in history as the rulers of Westeros. Maegor's reign was short, but infamous. Unlike Aegon, who ruled with a sense of unity, Maegor crushed dissent with brutal force. His cruelty knew no bounds. He tortured, executed, and built the Red Keep with secret passages to ensure no one could betray him. His death remains one of the great mysteries, with some believing he was assassinated on the Iron Throne itself, a fitting end for such a feared king. After Maegor's brutal reign, Westeros was ready for a king like Jaehaerys. Known as the Wise King, he ruled for over 50 years, and ushered in what's known as the Prosperous Age. Jaehaerys was a skilled diplomat and codified many laws to ensure stability. His long reign allowed him to leave a lasting legacy, as he is widely regarded as the greatest Targaryen king, whose policies would shape Westeros for generations. Viserys inherited a realm at peace, but his decision to name his daughter Rhaenyra as his heir would ignite a conflict for the ages. His rule was prosperous, but his failure to solidify the line of succession led to the civil war called the Dance of the Dragons, a bloody struggle that would devastate the Targaryen line and the realm. Aegon II's rule was marked by the Dance of the Dragons, as he opposed his half-sister Rhaenyra's claim to the throne. Their war was one of the darkest periods in Targaryen history, pitting dragon against dragon. Though Aegon II emerged victorious, his reign was short-lived, and he died under mysterious circumstances, leaving a legacy of death and ruin. As a boy, Aegon III watched his family and dragons perish, leading to a lifelong trauma. Known as the Dragonbane, he ruled with a heavy heart, mourning the loss of the dragons. Under his rule, the dragons went extinct, marking the end of an era and leaving the Targaryens vulnerable without their greatest strength. Doran was ambitious and fearless, famously attempting to conquer Dorne at just 14. Though he succeeded initially, holding Dorne proved impossible, and he died young. His brief reign became a cautionary tale about the dangers of youthful ambition. Baelor is perhaps the most eccentric Targaryen king, known for his intense piety. He built the Great Sept of Baela and attempted to lead Westeros with a religious zeal that bordered on fanaticism. His extreme fasting and attempts at peace through prayer eventually led to his early death, believed by many to be a result of his bizarre choices. Viserys II served as Hand of the King for decades before finally taking the throne himself. His reign was stable but short, and his death is surrounded by rumors of foul play, possibly at the hands of his own son, Aegon IV. Aegon IV is often remembered as one of the worst Targaryen kings. Known for his decadence, Aegon IV legitimized all his bastards on his deathbed, setting the stage for the Blackfyre rebellions. His actions plunged Westeros into generations of civil war, a legacy of betrayal that would echo for years. Doran II was a stabilizing force, known for his marriage alliance with Dorne, which helped secure peace. His rule was mostly peaceful, but his reign faced the First Blackfyre Rebellion, a direct consequence of Aegon IV's decisions. Aerys was an intellectual who left much of the ruling to his hand. His reign was marked by indifference to governance and allowed tensions in Westeros to grow. A seasoned warrior maker took the throne reluctantly. His rule was defined by conflict, especially with his own sons. His death led to a succession crisis that nearly brought the Targaryen line to ruin. Known for his humble beginnings, Aeg tried to implement reforms to improve the lives of the common people. However, his death at the tragedy at Summerhall cut his idealistic rule short, and his loss left a gap that would ultimately be filled by his much darker grandson. A short but relatively stable reign. Jaehaerys II's greatest legacy was his arrangement for his son, Aerys II, to marry his sister Rhaella in hopes of preventing another civil war. Aerys II's descent into madness led to the rebellion that ultimately ended the Targaryen dynasty. His cruelty and paranoia alienated even his closest allies, leading to his eventual assassination by Jaime, ushering in the rule of Robert Baratheon and the end of Targaryen dominance over Westeros. After overthrowing Mad King and Robert's rebellion, Robert Baratheon claimed the Iron Throne. Robert ruled as a warrior king who brought relative peace, but he was largely uninterested in governance, preferring feasts, hunting, and avoiding the political responsibilities of his title. His death in a suspicious hunting accident would spark the War of the Five Kings. Joffrey, Robert's supposed son, ascended the throne next. Known for his cruel and sadistic nature, his rule was marked by instability and violence. His public execution of Ned Stark, Warden of the North, further fueled rebellion. Joffrey's assassination at his own wedding led to even more chaos in King's Landing. After Joffrey's death, his younger brother Tommen became king. Under the influence of his mother, Cersei Lannister, and later the High Sparrow, Tommen's rule was fragile. Tommen's youth and gentle disposition were ill-suited to the harsh politics of Westeros, and he ultimately took his own life after witnessing the devastation in King's Landing caused by Cersei's actions. After Tommen's death, Cersei seized the throne herself, becoming the first queen to rule Westeros in her own right. Her reign was defined by paranoia, brutality, and the ruthless elimination of her enemies. She faced multiple threats, including Daenerys Targaryen and the Night King's invasion from the north. Daenerys finally reached Westeros with her army and dragons. She initially sought to be a just ruler, but gradually became more tyrannical after suffering heavy personal losses and betrayal. Her decision to destroy King's Landing resulted in her assassination by Jon Snow. Before she could truly establish her rule, after Daenerys' death, the surviving lords and ladies chose Bran Stark as king, marking a new era in Westeros.